Oh, hey, I didn't see you there. I was just taking 3 or 4 ibuprofen for the headache that these games gave me. This is Joseph Rothschild, aka Monoblutron, and we're back with another episode of 10-minute testing. I promise you're about to see something that is going to make you say, let's go into deck edit and look at it. I'll give you a collective second to groan. Today we're playing Inferno Tempest, which is a deck that seems bad on the surface, but when you delve a little deeper, it is actually incredibly terrible. I built this deck because at Yu-Gi-Oh! A couple of weeks ago, I was playing Burning Abyss and actually dropped a game in a match to this deck. The guy, however, had made some interesting choices that I didn't agree with, and I think what I've created is a more streamlined version of his original build. So the purpose of this deck is you want to open Grinder Golem and Inferno Tempest. What you do is you special summon Grinder Golem to your opponent's side of the field, then attack it with one of the tokens, use Inferno Tempest from your hand, and banish all the monsters from both players' decks. Then you get to banish an additional 10 because of Necroface activations. So your game plan from then on is to either Different Dimension Reincarnation your one of Grenmaju Daiza and attack for 1,000,000 damage, or DD Dynamite. And even if people aren't playing a lot of creatures in their decks, 2 DD Dynamite is going to get the job done no matter what. You probably won't need 3, but we have to play 3 for consistency reasons. Everything else in the deck is terrible. In case our Grinder Golem package doesn't go off, we can normal summon Necroface, then banish it with Dimension Hole, and just keep banishing it over and over again in order to try and grind our opponents out. We can also make a big Necroface if we just draw into it. We can banish Necroface with Allure of Darkness. So there's a couple other routes for us to durdle until we get to a point where we can potentially win the game. We have 3 Grinder Golem, Heart and Soul of the deck, 2 Necroface. You really need this card. If it went to 3, the deck would be much better. 1 Grenmaju Daiza, that's really all you want. You don't want to draw into this guy, really, and you play 3 Different Dimension Reincarnation, so it's not a big deal. You can almost always guarantee he will be in the Exile Zone. We have 3 Battle Fader, kind of a Nombo with Card of Demise, but we need it for Allure of Darkness, and it's not terrible. You just make sure that you do it at a different time than your Card of Demising. We have Dimension Hole, which can banish a face-up monster. We use it to banish Necroface and get an additional 5 cards out of our opponent. We have 1 Day of Peace, which is the hallmark of bad decks. We have 3 Card of Demise because we don't really care about discarding our whole hand, and this is a card we can really use. It's important to recognize you're going to have to use this to refill after you Grinder Golem, because you can't special summon the turn that you activate it. We have an Upstart Goblin for consistency's sake. We have a Gold Sarcophagus because if you banish Necroface, you get to banish 5 cards out of your opponent's deck with it. 3 Inferno Tempest, self-explanatory. We have Dimensional Fissure and Macrocosmos, just in case we have to play that game where we get cards into the Exile Zone, normally instead of cheating them there. 3 Different Dimension Reincarnation, these are going to get back your Grenmaju Daizas. 3 DD Dynamite, these are going to win you the game. And then these cards, you might remember from bad Exodia decks, they just basically redraw a card, like skip your opponent's turn, whatever. No entry is definitely the worst, and there's better options, but I didn't think of them by the time I'd done this video. And the fact that it has 2 exclamation points is hilarious. Why would they print that card? So let's jump into the games and see how the deck works. I promise these are the first 3 games with the deck. You're going to think, oh my god, you just picked the 3 where you went off, but these are the only 3 games I played with this monstrosity. We're up against some kind of, what is this? Destiny Heroes. Yeah, people think this Deadly Guy deck is going to be good, but I'm pretty sure that A-Forces is not going to be competitive anytime in the near future. Although, what am I saying? I'm playing Inferno Tempest. So, I open up with Grinder Golem and Inferno Tempest, and we're just going to fire it off. Let's go. Fire it off. Attack, Inferno Tempest, boom. We get 17 cards, so we have to do a little bit of calculation. We get to banish an extra 5, 1 Necroface within our hand. We Dimension Hole to get another 5. And because of my incredibly powerful math skills, I've recognized that flipping DD Dynamite will kill him from 8,000. And it does! What a phenomenal game. What an exciting experience for both players. I'm very happy this occurred. Now, if you thought that game was fun and interactive, wait until you see this one. We're playing against some kind of 60-card Harpies thing. We've opened Grinder Golem, Inferno Tempest, as always. Key to playing this deck is you really just want to stack your deck so that these 2 cards are on top. We go ahead and fire it off, get half of his deck banished. So here's the problem. Because this guy is playing a very bad 60-card Harpy rank 4 spam build, we actually have less cards in our deck than him, which means that we're not going to be able to deck him out by drawing, and we'll have to actually win the game somehow. He makes Kidori and sends one of my no entries back to the deck. I'm actually okay with that, I think, because it gets me an extra card in the deck, and now we get to fight over decking out, but I'm also intending to make Friend Maju. I do, and set a couple no entries in pass. He is in Dark Hole mode, and he uses Hysteric Party. At this point, I'm just hoping he doesn't have Cowboy in his extra, and apparently he doesn't. He makes Lightning Kidori and just starts flipping. Here's where the real fun of Yu-Gi-Oh! Happens. This was quite a game. I just draw the same trap every turn for the entire game. We have a Lure of Darkness this turn, which is dead, but alive if we draw DDR, so I keep it in my hand. Let me remind you, 13 cards in my deck, 3 are DD Dynamite, 2 are DDR, 3 are Card of Demise, and we keep drawing the Wabokus, we keep drawing the Threatening Roars and the no entries. This is payback for opening Inferno Tempest Grinder Golem so often. So I don't know, we're doing this. I don't really know what else to say. There's nothing to commentate. We just sit here and look at each other. Another Threatening Roar. Wow, thanks Konami for printing the same card 18 times. And here we go. We draw an actually good card. Use Card of Demise, set a couple DD Dynamites, and then kill him in his draw step. So, after 2 games of opening perfect, we have finally bricked. I knew it was going to happen someday. We have a Lure and a Battle Fader, so maybe we can draw out of it. The rest of our hand is pretty unimpressive. He's playing Dark Magicians, which is the deck I explored the other day. I kind of like this build. It's maxed out on hand traps. It plays Dedication. I don't like that part of it. Wheeler, he max sees, thinking we're actually playing a good deck. How silly of him. We set Macrocosmos, and we're just like, okay, I hope he can't do anything under macro, and it turns out he can't. He ends up banishing like 1,000 cards. I figure he's just going to have to tribute a Dark Magician. He called the Haunted a max C, so he can do that, then use Dark Magic Circle to banish Macrocosmos. We have a bunch of traps that do the same thing. Inferno Tempest, not very good against guys with 2,500 attack. We just set a million different copies of this card, knowing that he's going to be able to start banishing stuff. We need to have some kind of resilience or some kind of resiliency. He goes into Ebon Illusion Magician. I'm like, whatever, I'll just take it. As long as I'm not under 3,000 life, it's not a big deal. We draw Friend Maju, does nothing. We have 3 cards. He's like at 1,200. He almost seems fair in this instance. He's just going nuts with his Ebon Illusion Magician here, but every time he targets a card to banish it, we'll just flip it up. Then he goes into Dark Magician of Chaos, attacks, and then realizes what Waboku does. And we draw Grinder Golem like a sack. There he is. Grinder Golem, light it up. Here comes the Inferno Tempest, and there's everything. Necrofaces fire off as well. I haven't done the math. I don't know if we'll kill him with DD Dynamite, but I said it anyway. I spend the entirety of his turn going to Google, and I'm looking up, does DD Dynamite kill from this percentage? I find out it does, and I just flip it up, and another perfect, not solitaire match. Oh, shit. We're back with the deck. I don't really know what you want me to say. It's perfect. I expect this deck to win Worlds. This will be the best deck of Worlds. It's going to go this in first, this in second, Blue Eyes in last. Truthfully, I don't know what to say. I have no idea what to put in the deck. I'm sure there's a better battle trap than no entry, but aside from that, I think everything worked pretty well. We didn't get the Nightmare scenario where we use Card of Demise, draw Grinder Golem, and then have to discard it. I have a feeling that occurs more times than I would expect. Having said that, I don't know. The games we played went pretty well, and they're against decks that, certainly weren't meta, but are expected to be good in upcoming formats, so maybe it's an exciting deck you can try out. At least run it through the gauntlet on YGO Pro, see if you can make changes. Before I leave, though, I know you all are thinking it, and I'll just say it now. Pot of Cupidity is shit in this deck. It's really bad. I know you're thinking you want to banish cards, banishes them face down. You're like, you can return them back with Necroface. Okay, hear me out. Normal summoning Necroface is not where you want to be in this deck, okay? Second thing, banishing 10 cards from your deck is not good in a deck that banishes 10 cards from itself when 2 Necrofaces go to the graveyard, and plan B is to deck the opponent out. You don't want any of that to occur, so you don't play Pot of Cupidity. I tested it with Pot of Cupidity. It was terrible. Trust me. So that's that. I hope you had an exciting time watching the greatest deck ever made slaughter tier 1 meta threats like 60 card rank 4 Harpies spam. I hope you are so persuaded by the consistency of this deck that you're going onto eBay right now and trying to stage a buyout of Dimension Hole. And most of all, I hope you just enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure you give me a like, a comment, or a subscribe. It really helps me out. Additionally, if you want to see a certain deck played in a future video, let me know in the comments below and I'll see what I can do. Otherwise, I'll just play whatever I'm feeling like, which seems like it's going to be some deck with Darklaw. So with that out of the way, I will see you tomorrow for another episode of 10-Minute Testing.